Assalamu alaikum, my dear student. This is your mathematics teacher, Ms. Rada Asif from SM Public Academy, Campus 5. My dear student, today we are going to discuss chapter number 7, linear graphs and their applications. Before starting this chapter, first we have to focus on what is linear graph. First, we have to understand about linear graphs. Linear means straight, and a graph is a diagram which shows a connection or relation between two or more quantities. So the linear graph is nothing but a straight line or a straight graph, straight line or a straight graph which is drawn on plane connecting the points on x and y coordinate. What is Cartesian plane and linear graphs? Cartesian planes can be defined as a plane formed by intersection of any two coordinates, like here, x and y axis. These two axes are perpendicular to each other. The horizontal axis is called the x-axis and the vertical axis is called the y-axis. These two axes intersect each other at the origin, which is here denoted by O, or we can say that it is 0. Student, Cartesian coordinate plane allow us to visualize ordered pair by representing the input along the horizontal number line called the x-axis and output along the vertical number line called the y-axis. Ordered pair. In general, any point in the Cartesian plane can be represented by the ordered pair, like here, x and y, x comma y within the bracket, within the round bracket. Here, x is the first element and y is the second element. This first element represents the x coordinate, and the first coordinate, that means the x coordinate, we can say that it's abscissa, right? This x as the x coordinate and it is called abscissa. And what about the second element? This represents the y coordinate and we can say that it is the ordinate, right? So the first element is called the abscissa and the second element is called the ordinate, right? Now, what are the quadrants? Quadrants is a region defined by the two axes, x and y axis. Student, here x and y divides the Cartesian plane into 4 quadrants named in Roman numbers. That means here quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. A student, in quadrant 1, we can see that both the values of x and y axis are positive. Here, both the values are positive, right? We can see in the graph, the right side of x-axis represents the positive numbers, positive 1, +2, +3, +4, and +5. And what about the left-hand side? It represents the negative values on x-axis. -1, -2, -3, -4, and here -5. Right? In the same way, what about the vertical line? What about the y-axis? On y-axis, these values are positive, +1, +2, +3, +4, and so on. And downward, these values are negative. These values are showing the negative y-axis. So when we are discussing about the first quadrant, students, both the values of x and y are positive, right? What about the second quadrant? Here, the values of x are negative, but the values of y's are positive. What about the third quadrant? It gives you the ordered pair of both the negative values, right? Here, x is also negative, while y is also negative, right? Now, last one is quadrant number 4. Here we can see that x is positive, but y is negative. So this is all about the 4 quadrants. Now, for example, students, if we want to plot any point in the XY plane, first of all, students, we have to draw a graph in a proper way. We have to draw the horizontal line, that means the x-axis, positive x-axis, and the negative x-axis. This O represents the origin, that means 0. Here we can draw the vertical line, and on the vertical line, we can see that the positive numbers are there, and below 0, there are the negative numbers are there that represent the minus y-axis. Now here we can see that the most important things on the graph is your scale. So first of all, you have to mention that on x-axis, you have taken 10 small square is equals to 1 axis, 1 unit. Look at the graph here. We have taken 10 small squares is equals to 1 unit, right? And what about y-axis? We have taken 5 small square that is equals to 1 unit, right? So in this way, we have drawn whole y-axis and whole x-axis. How can we plot the point A, 5, and 3? The student 5 represents abscissa and 3 means your ordinate. So both the values are positive. These must be lie. This point must be lie in quadrant 1, right? So here, our x is 5. And what about y? Y is 3. So the point we get here is like this. So this A, we have mentioned that A is equals to 5, 3 within the round bracket. Must remember that order pair must be written properly within the round bracket. All right, student. So in this way, we can plot any point in our graph in our XY plane. All right. So students, now we are going to construct a table for a pair of values satisfying a linear equations in 2 variables. For example, here is equation y is equal to 1 upon 2x plus 3. Here we get then equation one linear equation is given to you. We have to construct a table for the values of x and y, right? How can we make a table? The students, we can take any values of x here. We can put any values of x over here to get the values of y. In this way, we can construct a table for x and y. For example, students, if I put the value, for example, if I put value of x here, 1, right? If I put the value of x, for example, if I put the value of x equals to 2 here. So here 2 over 2 plus 1 plus 3, plus 3, y is equals to 2 over 2 plus 3 gives you the answer what? 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2. We get 1 plus 3, and 1 plus 3 means 4, right? So in this way, you can take any 4 values of x, and you can construct the table like this. Here you can write the first ordered pair. Here you have taken the value of x2, and you got the value of y is 4, right? So this is the first order pair. In this way, you can take any of the values of x, and by putting these values of x in this equation, you can easily get the values of y, right? But after creating the table, after putting all the values, we get a table like this. We get the table like this. By putting the value of x equals to 0, we get the value y is equals to 3. Okay. By putting x value 2, we get the value of y is 4. By putting value of x is equals to 4 in this linear equation, we get the value of y is equals to 5. After creating this table, we can easily draw the graph like this. Look at this graph. This is our x-axis and this is the y-axis, right? So you have to write down 0 in the center, and in the same way, you can write down 1, 2, 3 on the x-axis, positive x-axis, and minus values on the minus x-axis, plus values on plus y-axis, and the negative values on negative y-axis. Now look at the graph. Here we have plotted these 3 points, and by joining these 3 points, we get the straight line. So in this way, we can draw a straight line on our graph paper, right? So graphic solution of equations in 2 variables. Students, we can draw graph in this way also. Students, if we are having maximum values in our table positive, students, we can draw a graph like this, right? If you are having maximum values or all the values are positive, that means x-axis is also positive. You are getting all the values of y is also positive and values of x are also positive in your table. You can draw a graph like this. But if you are getting mixed values, you are getting the positive values of in table and negative values are also there. So you can draw the graph like this. In the center of your graph, you can draw the vertical line, right? But if there are only positive values are there, you can draw the graph like this. You can adjust your graph, you can adjust your x-axis and y-axis according to your readings. Okay? So students, today we are going to solve exercise 7.3 question number 5, bit number 6 together. And let's find it out. How can we solve the equations? How can we put the values of x or y to get the values of another axis? And how can we draw a graph? So student, here we are going to solve together question number 5 and bit number 6. What we have to do in this question, we have to solve these equations by graphical method. First, what we have to do, first we have to take these equations separately. We have to put the values of x, or we can put the values of y to get the values of x. Then we have to draw the table and we have to put the values of x and y in the given table. And then we can easily draw the graph together, right? So our aim is to solve these simultaneous equations by graphical method. Students, first of all, we have to check that this is our equation 1. Here, this y is written alone. So we can easily write this y on the left-hand side. We get y is equal to 2x plus 2. So this is a very easy question. We don't have to, there's no need to separate 2 from x, because it's very easy to solve in this way, that y is already written separately. So we have written it on the left hand side and we get the equation y is equals to 2x plus 2. This is our equation 1. All right. Students, what we have to do first, we have to put any 4 values of x in this given equation. We can take any 4 values of x. We have to put these values of x over here and we can get the values of y. So let's start the question. For example, let's consider, let x is equals to, let's take x is equals to minus 3, right? So if x equals to minus 3, if we put the value of x, this value of x over here, this equation becomes 2 into minus 3 plus 2. 2 minus 3, we get 2 3s are 6, plus 2, minus 6 plus 2. When the negative number is greater, answer will be negative, right? 6 minus 2, we get 4. Is it clear? So here, by putting the value of x minus 3, we get the value of y minus 4. Clear, students? So let's take another value of x. Let x equals to, for example, let's take x equals to minus 2, right? You can take any of the value plus 2, right? Plus minus 2 into 2 is 4 plus 2. What we have done, we are just putting the value of x, that is minus 2, in the given equation, right? Now again, the negative number is greater, the answer will be negative. 4 minus 2 gives you the answer minus 2. So the ordered pair will be minus 2, minus 2. Both the x and y coordinates, abscissa and ordinate are minus 2, right? So students, now let's take x equals to, for example, 1. Let's take any positive value of x. Students, by putting the value of x here, 1, we get 2 into 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Yes. So are you enjoying? Are you enjoying in solving these? It's too simple, it's too easy. What you have to remember, just put the value of x over here and find out the value of y in this way. Now let's take value of x equals to 2. Students, why I am not taking values, why I am taking small values, why I am considering small values of x? The reason is that we have to draw the graph. Okay, we have to make the graph. If I take the value of x, for example, 12, 13, so it will be difficult for me while I'm making the graph, right? It will become difficult for me for plotting such kind of values on the graph, right? So let's take again a small value, that is x equals to 2. By putting the value of x equals to 2, we get 2 into 2 is 4. Now 2 plus 4 gives you the answer. Yes, 6. Very good. So here we get, by putting the value of x equals to 2, students, we get y is equals to 6. Yes, so it's clear. We have taken 4 values of x. X equals to minus 3, x equals to minus 2, x equals to 1, and x equals to 2. So we can easily, as you can see, that we can easily get the 4 values of y on given values of x. So we can draw a table like this. We can write down x and y. Now, what is the first value of x, student? First value is, what was the first value? Our first value was minus 3, minus 4, right? So in your table, write down minus 3, minus 4. What about the second value? Second value was minus 2, minus 2, right? Third one was 1 and 4. And what about the fourth one? Fourth one is 2 and 6. Clear, student? So in this way, we can easily solve our first equation. So this was our first equation, and we have, alhamdulillah, solved equation together. I hope up till now you are not having any difficulty in solving equation, in finding the values of y. Now student, here second equation is y is equals to x minus 1. Again, this equation is very simple. This equation is very simple. This y is again written separately. So we don't have to do anything. We have to write like this, and this is our equation number 2. Right? So this is our equation number 2. So what we have to do in such kind of equation, again, student, take any 4 values for x, put the values of x in equation number 2 to get the 4 values of y, right? So let's start the solution together. Let x equals to -3. Okay, what is the reason why I am taking the same values? Why I'm considering the same value of x again? The reason is that we have to plot a graph, and on our graph, the point where these two graphs coincide gives you the solution set, right? So that's why I'm using the same points, okay? Here, I am again taking the values of x same. Again, I'm using this value of minus x value -3 again, just try to get the same value of y. Let's try together to find the value of y. Here y equation is x minus 1. So we have to put the value of x, that is -3, -1, -3, -1. Both are negative. So we get the answer 3 plus 1, 4. And the sign will be negative, right? So in the ordered pair, we get -3 and -4, right? And here you can see that by putting in our first equation -3, we get y equals to -4. That means on the first step, alhamdulillah, we get our solution set, we get our answer. But what we have to do, we have to take 3 more values of x. So don't worry, we can take the same values of x for equation number 2 as well. Let's consider x equals to, again we are considering x equals to -2. Now what was the equation? Y is equals to x minus 1. So it becomes -2 -1. Student, have you remember one thing I have told you in physical classes? When signs are same in addition, subtraction, when same signs are there, what we have to do? We have to add the numbers. We have to add the number. 2 plus 1, 3. And what about the sign? When the signs are negative, we get the answer negative. For example, if there is +2 plus 1, we get +3. In the same way, if there is -2 -1, we get -3. Right? When signs are same, what we have to do? We have to add the numbers. When signs are same, we have to add the number, and we get the sign which is already above we are using. For example, -2 -1 gives you -3. If we are having plus 2 plus 1, we get plus 3. Same signs, we have to add. When the signs are different, for example, here the signs are different, we have to subtract and we get the sign of the greater number. Clear? Now, so student, here we get our ordered pair -2 and -3. So let's consider x value 1. So we get y is equals to 1. 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So by putting the value of x equals to 1, we get y equals to 0. So simple. Now, last but not the least, we are taking the value, the fourth value of x equals to 2, right? X equals to 2. Now, putting value of x equals to 2 in our given equation, we get 2 minus 1, we get 1. So by putting value of x2, we get 1, right? So in our given chart, we can write like this: x and y. Okay, so in this given table, we have written x and y. Now, what was the first value of x? What was the first value of -3 and -4? So write it down: -3, -4. What was the second value? -2, -3. -2 and -3. The third value, 1, 0. And the last one is 2 and 1. So we have solved, alhamdulillah, both the equations. And after solving both the equations, students, you can see the tables. So in both the tables, when we put the value of x -3, we get the answer, we get the value of y -4, right? We get the value of y -4. So our solution set is solution set. Students, we have to write the solution set in a proper way. First, we have to draw curly braces, then the round bracket for the ordered pair. We get -3, -4. The students, please remember that the first place must be for our x-axis, right? For our x coordinate. So we get the x coordinate -3 and then y coordinate is -4 within the round bracket and within the curly bracket. So we have solved our equation. We got the separate table for both the equation 1 and equation 2. Now we are able to draw the graph for both the equation. A student, in this graph, what we have done, we have draw a horizontal line for x-axis and negative x-axis, right? I have written 0 in the center where these two axes meet, right? Where these two axes meet, this gives you 0, right? On the right-hand side, I have mentioned the positive values of x. On the left-hand side, I have mentioned the negative values of x. Now, what about the y-axis? I have mentioned the positive values of y at the top, and I have mentioned the negative values of y below this graph. We can see. So, student, I have taken on our x-axis, I have taken 5 small square is equals to 1 unit, right? Look at how many boxes I have taken. I have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So 5 small square is equals to 1 unit. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2. See? Again, we have to count 5 more boxes. This is equals to 3. In the same way, I have drawn the negative x-axis. What about the y-axis? I have again taken for the scale 5 small square is equals to 1 unit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the same way, I have drawn the whole graph 1, 2 till 9 and -1, -2, -3 like this on the negative y-axis, right? Student, very important point is that when you are making the graph, you have to mention the scale at the top first, right? It is very important to mention the scale. What is the meaning of the scale? Scale shows you that on x-axis, how many small squares are equal to 1 unit, right? So here, according to our question, we are having both the positive and negative values. So we have drawn the graph like this. We have drawn the vertical line of y-axis in the center of the graph, right? And we have taken the 5 small square. We have taken 5 small square is equals to 1 unit. In the same way, we have taken on y-axis again 5 small squares is equal to again 1 unit, right? So in this way, we can take our scale. If you are having the values greater than 9, more than you are getting the values of x and y, 13, 14, 15, 16. You can make a graph, you can change the scale. For example, I have taken 5 small square is equals to 1 unit. You can also take 2 small square is equals to 1 unit. But when we are taking 5 small square is equals to 1 unit, our graph look more clear, more neat and clean. So we try to take the small values of x, or you can take the small values of y to get the smaller values of another coordinate, right? So let's start our question. So what is the first value in our table? In our table, the first value, what was the first value? According to our table, the first value was -3 and -4. -3 and -4. So where is -3 in this graph? Look at the x-axis. There is -3. And what about -4? -4. -4 is written over here. So on this point where these two points meet together, we get here, this point is -3. Here x-axis is -3 and y-axis is -4. So we can write it down here. Students, let me clear you one thing. I am using pen over here. The reason was that when I was making graph with a pencil for making the video for you, for recording the lecture, it was not clear. For that purpose, I use here black pen. But please, when you are making the graph, don't use pen, don't use colors over there. You have to use only pencil while you are making the graphs, right? So our first point is -3 and -4. Is it clear? X-axis gives you -3 and y-axis is -4. Now next point is -2, -2. Both the values are of -2. Here we can see that x-axis -2 value is over there. And what about the y-axis? Y is -2 here. This point shows both the values are -2, right? Here x is also -2 and y is also -2. The next point is 1, 4. So where is positive +1? Where is +1? Here x is 1 over here, but don't take 1 here. This represents you y-axis. You have to take 1 of x-axis and 4 of y-axis, right? 4 of y-axis, look. 1 of x-axis and 4, here 4 of y-axis. Look at the graph. I'm using the scale to clear the concept of yours. The student, look, there is 4, right? And there is 1 on x-axis. Now, where I have to put the point? Where I have to plot the point? Here. Make a small dot circle around it, we get the third value, 1 and 4, right? The last value for the first equation was 2 and 6. So here is 2 and where is 6? Yes, here we get the 6 on y-axis. And what about 2? You can see that 2 is written over here. So on this point, we have to draw the circle. 2, 6. Right? So we get our 4 points easily. What we can do here, we can draw a straight line. We can draw a straight line by joining these all 4 points together. Students, look. Students, what we have to do? We just don't have to just join the point. We have to extend this line and we have to make arrows. That means we have to draw the straight line, right? We have to draw the straight line. Now look at this quadrant number 3 where we get the 2 points. Both the points are negative. Look, so these 2 points are lying in quadrant number 3. Very good. So extend this straight line and make arrow like this, right? And here you can write the equation on this straight line. To show that these points are, we get these points from the equation, that is y is equals to 2x plus 2. That was our equation number 1. Our equation number 1s give these 4 points, right? When we put the value of x, -3, -2, 1 and 2 in this equation, we get the values of y, -4, -2, 4 and 6 in such a way that we can easily draw a straight line on our graph. Now student, if the second equations table after plotting the plotting our value second table's graph points on our graph book, and if in our graph we get these 2 straight line coinciding on a single point, the point where these 2 straight lines are coinciding, that points gives you the solution set graphically. Okay? On graph where these 2 straight lines, this is the straight line, this is our first straight line for the equation number 1, right? We have to draw the second straight line for the equation number 2, and the point where these 2 straight lines meet together, that point will be the solution set of these 2 equations, right? So now let's take the equation 2 table. Let's consider the values of equation number 2. So the first value is minus 3 and 4. Let me show you. The first value was minus 3, minus 4, minus 2, minus 3 second, 1, 0, 2, and 1. So now let's plot together. Where is minus 3, minus 4? Student, this is minus 3 on negative x-axis, and where is minus 4? Here it is, right? Where is the second value? Minus 2 and minus 3. Minus 2 on x-axis, we have taken minus 2. And what about minus 3? Minus 3 is written on the y-axis over here. Now, where these 2 points coincide? Okay. Here we get minus 2 and minus 3. Right? The third point is 1 and 0. Now look at this point carefully. Where is x1? Now look, here the value of x is equals to 1. Now on this point, we have to take the value of y 0. Student, on our x-axis, for example, if I'm taking this point, right? On this point, our y-axis is 0. If we want to draw 1, 0, right? If we have to plot the point 1, 0, we get the point 1, 0 here. If we have to plot the point on 2, 0, then where we have to find out the point? Our point will be mentioned over here on 2. What about 3, 0? Here. Here x-axis is 3 and y-axis is 0. In the same way, student, if I have to plot 0, 1, that means where is x-axis is 0? X-axis is 0 over here, right? And the value of y is 1. Value of y is 1 is over there. So on this whole y-axis, the value of x is 0, right? If I ask you that which point is this, what will you say? 0, 1 or 1, 0? Very good. This point means your x-axis is 0 and y is 1. That means 0, 1, 0, 2. Is it clear? So now let's come on our question again. So this gives you x1 and y0. Make a small circle. We get 1 and 0. Right? Make a small dot and make a small circle. Again, I'm telling you, don't use pen. Okay? You have to use pencil only. Now, where is 2 on x-axis? There you can see 2. And where is 1 on y-axis? Here is 1. So we get 2, 1. So this was the last point, fourth last point of equation number 2. Let's join these 4 points together. Student, this was our first point. The point where these 2 straight lines are going to be coincide, right? So look how I am joining these 4 points together. Look. Right? We have to draw a straight line on our graph for equation number 2. And student, we can easily see. First, let me write second equation of this question. Second equation is y is equals to x minus 1. Now, for these two equations, we have drawn the two straight lines, and these two straight lines coincide at a single point. The single point is -3 and -4. So here on our graph, right? Here on our graph, we can write down the solution set is equals to -3 -4. Is it clear, student? The point where these two straight line meets, this point is your solution set. I hope, student, this question is properly clear to you. But if you have any query, if you have any question regarding this question number 5, bit number 6, you can ask me in our physical class. All right? So together we have completed this question number 5, bit number 6. Inshallah, we will continue, we will complete this question, these question number 5, all other bits together in our physical class. Okay, student, thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.